If you love to sit down by yourself and get lost in an immersive single-player video game, well, you're in the right place. In this video, I'm going to highlight a ton of single-player games all set to release in 2022. And I'm not talking about single-player games that are designed to be better with friends. Sure, some of these games might have a multiplayer option, but they all offer a complete experience for the solo purist. If that sounds like your thing, I hope you'll join me as I look at 26 of the most anticipated and most interesting single-player video games of 2022. It might seem, well, weird to kick things off with a game that many people don't have on their radar, but Weird West could be downright awesome. According to the official description, it's an immersive sim from the co-creators of Dishonored and Prey. If you don't know about immersive sims, these are games that, rather than push you to play a certain way, let you instead explore, fight, and play in creative ways that suit your playstyle. Think games like BioShock, Dishonored, Prey, Deus Ex, and even The Elder Scrolls. As for Weird West, it's a top-down take on the genre where you roam a Wild West setting that features fantastical creatures and magical abilities. As with any immersive sim, you have a ton of options. You can be an invisible assassin or a noisy and conspicuous agent of chaos. Plus, the world will change depending on your choices, including how you interact with several in-game factions. One thing that sets Weird West apart is that you'll play as multiple characters, discovering each of their origin stories before they all come together in the final chapter. It's not a AAA juggernaut, but if Weird West reviews well, give it a chance when it releases on January 11th for Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. With Pokemon Legends Arceus, I think that's how you say it, the developers at Game Freak are finally giving fans what they've long asked for. Well, sort of. While definitely more open than previous games in the series, Arceus isn't quite a true open-world experience like, say, Breath of the Wild. That's because, as the developers have confirmed, the region you'll explore will be segmented into separate areas. Nonetheless, expect a more free-form style of exploration with many of the trappings, pardon the pun, you'd expect from a Pokemon game. To complete your Pokédex, you'll have to do research on Pokemon, then seek them out and do battle. And speaking of, the combat has changed. Your Pokemon will now have two combat styles to choose from, Strong Style and Agile Style, and depending on their stats, some Pokemon will be able to take multiple turns in a row. As for exploration, Arceus features a deer-like Pokemon that you can ride on land, a water Pokemon that will help brave the high seas, and a flying Pokemon that will let you take to the skies. You'll be able to play Pokemon Arceus on Switch this coming January 28th. Dying Light 2 looks to build off the foundation set by its predecessor in some incredibly ambitious ways. First is how the world will change depending on the decisions you make. We all saw in the 2019 demo where one choice to flip a switch caused a dam to break, which then caused a previously flooded area of the map to open up for you to explore. It's been a while since we saw that demo, but let's hope the world still evolves in such dramatic fashion. Since that demo, we have gotten confirmation that you'll at least be able to align with certain factions, and this might, for example, open up certain zip lines that let you zip over to new rooftops that maybe weren't accessible before. However the world unfolds, it sounds like you'll have a ton to explore. Dying Light 2 takes place in a new city that spans an area 4 times the size of the original. As for getting around, you'll reportedly have twice the parkour moves, and you'll have a paraglider. The night cycle also raises the stakes. Explore at night, and just like last time, you'll encounter more zombies. But if you want to find some grade A loot, this time it's also at night that you'll be able to raid zombie nests, which are left empty after dark. The devs have also worked to improve stealth, melee combat, and they've revamped the skill trees. One of the first huge games of the year to release across all major platforms, you'll be able to play Dying Light 2 on February 4th. Sifu is a promising martial arts beat-em-up with roguelite elements. The fluid combat features a heavy emphasis on blocking and parrying, and the way you can string attacks together has drawn comparisons to the Arkham games. But the comparisons end there. The game does feature roguelite elements, and what I find most interesting is how the game treats death. If you are defeated in combat, you have a pendant that will heal you back to life. However, each time you do this, you'll age a given number of years. This will strengthen your attacks, but lower your maximum health. Grow old enough and your pendant will lose its ability to resurrect you, and it's then that you'll have to start a new run. But it does sound like some abilities can carry over to new runs depending on how you upgrade your character. If Sifu nails its combat and if you love the beat-em-up genre, this could be a must-play when it releases on February 8th for PC and PlayStation. PlayStation has been slowly but steadily drip-feeding us new information about Horizon Forbidden West every couple of months. Most recently, we got an awesome trailer at the Game Awards. And just before that, we heard that Guerrilla Games has an entire team of developers dedicated just to making the world feel more alive. Previously, we saw gameplay footage that makes it clear exploration in Aloy's next adventure will be much more fluid and effortless than in Zero Dawn. For starters, Aloy can now free climb rocky surfaces, and she'll have a grappling hook called the Pullcaster, which she'll use to pull herself towards very liberally placed grapple points throughout the world. She'll also have the Shield Wing, which will let her glide through the air, and finally, she'll have a mouthpiece that will let her breathe and explore more freely underwater. Combat is also getting some upgrades. In addition to overhauled skill trees and new weapons, Aloy will have what are called Valor Surges. These are special attacks, there will be 12 in total, that you can charge up by performing skillful maneuvers in combat. Once charged, Valor Surges can be executed to unleash a special move. And as you probably know, Aloy will also face new robo-creatures. Most recently, we got a glimpse of this giant cobra. Awesome. Forbidden West is set to release on February 18th. Some people might call Elden Ring open-world Dark Souls, but as someone who's played both, I can say Elden Ring is way more than just that. First off, this is a proper open world, way more open than even the world of the original Dark Souls. You'll be able to pick what to do and where to go, and it's going to feature a lot more optional content, including bosses, mini-bosses, and explorable areas. Plus, you'll have a horse. This will help get around way more effortlessly, and you'll even be able to fight while on horseback. There's also a crouch button, stealth tactics, a jump button, and you can equip powerful skills to different weapons. You can even summon spirits in Elden Ring, which are AI-controlled allies that will fight alongside you. Yeah, this is not Dark Souls. However, there are similarities. Combat is just as unforgiving as ever, and when it comes to the game's proper dungeons, I fully expect to see the same outstanding level design. If you want my in-depth impressions, check out my full preview, which I'll link to in this video and in the description below. Overall, I'm confident this will be another banger of a game by From Software when it releases on February 25th for the PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. I suppose you could make the case that Gran Turismo is more of a multiplayer title, but it sounds like Polyphony Digital is making sure solo purists can enjoy the latest edition of PlayStation's original driving simulator. Unlike when Gran Turismo Sport launched, there will be a complete single-player campaign mode that allows you to unlock new cars and new driving challenges. According to the official listing on PlayStation Store, Gran Turismo 7 will also feature a, quote, staggering collection of other game modes, including arcade and driving school. It's also been confirmed you'll be able to choose from over 420 cars, and according to an article on GiveMeSport.com, the game will feature over 30 tracks, both real and fictional. Finally, if you were a fan of Gran Turismo Sport, you can rest easy knowing that GT7 will contain everything that was present in that game. After multiple delays, GT7 is currently set to release for PS4 and PS5 on March 4th. Triangle Strategy is a tactical, turn-based RPG from the same team behind Octopath Traveler and the as-yet unannounced Quadratic Equation. Yeah, that was a joke, but seriously, taking full advantage of the game's gorgeous art style, battles place traditional 2D sprites on 3D battlefields, where elevation can significantly affect your tactics. But there's more to winning than just gaining the high ground. For instance, there are charge attacks, which might knock an enemy back, placing them within range of another party member. Then there are elemental spells. Say you cast ice magic in an area that's on fire. The ice will melt into a pool which you can then electrify using lightning magic. Your strategy also extends beyond the battlefield, with your decisions in the story dictating who joins your party. If this sounds enticing, you should be able to play Triangle Strategy this March 4th on Nintendo Switch. Say what you will about the Game Awards, but one thing it finally delivered, and I mean finally, is a release date for Tunic. Set to come out on March 16th, Tunic is an Xbox and PC exclusive that draws liberally from the top-down 2D Zelda games. But instead of a pointy-eared, sword-wielding Hyrulean, you play as a pointy-eared, sword-wielding fox. Just like in Zelda, expect a sprawling world with various interconnected areas and a Metroidvania style of progression. I didn't play the recent demo, but if the trailers are any indication, it looks like you'll discover new abilities like this grappling hook that will allow you to access new areas, solve new puzzles, and defeat tougher enemies. And speaking of, you will be fighting some awesome looking bosses. In fact, it looks to me like one big difference from Zelda appears to be the combat. In Tunic, fights look way more fast-paced, strategic, and visceral. Overall, Tunic looks fantastic, and if it reviews well, I'll be playing on day one. If you still need more Souls-like goodness, Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin will release literally 3 weeks after Elden Ring. Now, this game has been described as Dark Souls meets Final Fantasy, and while that's not entirely wrong, it is a bit reductive. First off, the combat in Stranger of Paradise has actually been compared more to the Nioh games. That said, when I played the demo a few months back, the combat and more specifically the character development did feel unique and distinct. First off, there's a pretty complex job system that lets you assign different jobs to your character, each with unique weapons, combat styles, and their own skill trees. Next is a combat mechanic that allows you to absorb enemy skills and use them as your own. So if you want to defeat an enemy weak to fire, try absorbing a fire ability from a fire-based enemy. There's a lot more to the game, so if you're interested, I suggest watching a few previews. I actually really enjoyed